United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? My name is Noelle, and I'm gonna give a local shout out. I'm gonna give a local shout out to the local heads here. There's this girl. Her name is Bronzed by Brickell on Instagram. She, hands down, has given me the best spray tans of my life by a long shot, by a million. I'd show you, but we're audio only over here. She fucking airbrushed abs on me. They look so good, dude.
Noelle looks great.
They look
actually
uncolloquible. They're so fucking good. She's so good. She's so reasonably priced. I'm gagged. I am gagged.
And I'm Chelsea. Unchiseled, unbronzed.
Yeah.
Lardier than ever, one may say.
No, dude. When I showed Chelsea from the front, I said, check this out. And she was like, damn! And then I told her from the side, and I was like, Liza Minnelli. And she was like, oh my God. And I said, yeah, you need to come get yourself sprayed.
I know, I need to.
Like, I'm so serious. Between like the price of just like going to a place like a fucking European tan and getting a spray that sucks versus it's the same. It's like 1 for 1.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sick of putting the oven mitt on a fucking spatula and trying to get my back,
I've accepted the part where my back is streaky and none of my business.
That's fucking crazy.
I am going to go to my high school reunion and
Are you really?
Yeah, because here's what happened.
No.
I wasn't going to go because they weren't serving alcohol. And I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're only serving bad vibes and misery.
Yeah, because here's the thing with not serving alcohol. If I go somewhere and they happen to not have alcohol, I'm like, that's just the environment I'm in. Now, if you are throwing a reunion party where you are going to charge me money to attend and you are not having alcohol there, what you're really doing is virtue signaling the culture that we grew up with. And I feel like you're making a statement about who you are by choosing to not do that. And it's just like a further perpetuation of all the different stereotypes that happen when you go to school in Utah. And it just rubbed me the wrong way because there are other events that they have that are quote unquote family friendly, clearly implied that there's, not going to be alcohol, but for like the adults only turn up party. I've been to Mormon parties where they pray before they eat, where we weren't allowed to watch Legally Blonde unless everyone had a written permission note from their parents. I have gone to it all, but because I knew what that was at face value, never fucking bothered me.
Yeah.
When you are having an event that is independent of any of that culture or status, you should not have any artifacts of culture and status there, and it drives me fucking crazy. So I'm gonna go get hammered in the parking lot. But what really happened was my best friend from junior high commented on it when I said I wasn't going, and then said I would love to have a drink with my best friend from junior high. And I was like, I love that energy, bitch. I'll go for you, of course.
Well, that makes sense.
Go, yeah. So, and then there were other couple people who were like, glad you said something. I'm going to go now. Like, maybe we can all just meet up and go to an after party. And I was like, you know what?
You guys should just pregame in the parking lot.
I'm going to. I'm going to buy a wine bra and I'm going to sip on it all night.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, what are they charging you for if it's not going to be what?
We are literally going to go. It says that like the party, I think I sent you the invite. It's
You did. It was
wedding location.
Right.
And we're going to be playing bingo. Trivia bingo, not even just regular bingo.
What the fuck is trivia bingo?
I don't know. It's going to be like, which choir teacher married a student as soon as they turned 18? It's not going to be anything fun that.
Yeah. It's going to be like, what would be the trivia bingo that they would do at a high school reunion?
What color was the show choir skirts during our senior year?
Oh my God. I think I would put a gun in my mouth.
Yeah. But seeing my junior high best friend comment and saying she wanted to have a drink with me, I was like, hell yeah, because she was super LDS when we went to school together, and that never caused a problem because I was like a little prude and a nerd.
Yeah, you said it.
So I never had any religious conflict with that.
There's no
But
clash.
when she commented and said that she wanted to have a drink, it was an immediate like,
Yeah.
oh,
You guys should go to like Chili's or something.
yeah, we should get the Presidente
Yeah,
margarita.
get an El Presidente and a triple dip. But
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight.
No, it actually does if you think about it, because
You know what? Because
going,
we're the religious experts now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So, we did do a little bit, well, Noelle did a big history deep dive with the IRA and some of the
The Price
horrors.
Sisters.
Yeah, some of the horrors committed by colonialism. And I was like, you know what sounds fun? Talking about religion. And so we're going to take a hard pivot.
We talked about religion though, adjacently with the IRA, so it's like kind of also in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah, yeah. So Protestant scum, get the fuck out. We're going
That's what I'm
full
saying.
Catholic today.
That's what I'm saying. Let them know. Let them know.
But yeah, we are definitely opening the forbidden folder today. One that is dusty, strange, and a little bit more faux pas than the IRA, believe it or not, because we are talking about the apocalypse of Adam, which is a text where Adam is not just the guy who lost paradise over a fruit situation, but also perhaps even an ancient whistleblower who one day sat his sunset down and said, "Son, the garden was not the whole story."
Once you start with that idea, once you start with Adam as the first man to look around at reality and say, something is off here, you're already standing at the entrance to one of the oldest rabbit holes in human history, because it is not just about one ancient Gnostic text. It is about a pattern. It is about how an ancient apocalypse becomes a conspiracy engine, how hidden knowledge becomes hidden bloodlines, how false cosmic rulers become global elites, how religious symbols get fused with end time prophecy, and how, if you follow the red string long enough, you eventually end up staring at the Vatican, the Black nobility, the Orsini family, one of the most influential Roman noble families in medieval Italy and the Renaissance, the Antichrist, and the internet's favorite shadowy job title, the Grey Pope, which is the real motherfucker pulling the strings behind the curtain.
Yeah, I feel like when we did Gnosticism last time, we didn't really understand. So it's nice to revisit just a small tidbit of Gnosticism.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Um,
lot in religion that I still don't understand.
I didn't even know this was a fucking thing until 3 weeks ago when we started writing
Yeah.
this. So there are a lot of layers of conspiracy and historical reality here. So we are going to try to be very transparent on which layers of the onion we were peeling. Because there is the historical layer where families like the Orsini family really did hold power in Rome and papal politics. There is the religious interpretation layer where people connect ancient apocalypse to Christian end time ideas. And there's also a conspiracy folklore layer where the internet takes history, prophecy, bloodlines, banking families, Vatican intrigue, and spiritual warfare, puts it all in a blender, and then they say they have been controlling us since Babylon. So let's get into it. I'm going to assume that most people know Adam from Genesis. Adam is the first man, the garden resident, fruit incident guy, father of man, so on and so forth. In mainstream biblical stories, Adam is created by God, placed in Eden, given a command, joined by Eve, tempted by the serpent, and cast out after disobedience. His is a story of creation, innocence, temptation, fall, shame, exile, and the very beginning of human suffering. That is the version that many of us inherited, even if only through, cultural background noise, cartoons, jokes, general idea. But essentially, everyone pretty much knows that at the start of everything, humanity messed up lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But the apocalypse of Adam is not interested in giving us that familiar version. So this text comes from the Nag Hammadi Library, which is a collection of ancient writings discovered in Egypt in 1945 and it belongs to the world of Gnostic and Sethian religious imagination. So in this version, Adam is not merely the first sinner or the first farmer or the first man to blame his wife during questioning, but he is a revealer, a holder of secret, and he is very, very old. He is nearing the end of his life, and he is speaking to Seth, his son. And what he gives Seth is not a wholesome father-son chat about responsibility, but rather a cosmic disclosure. And the text begins with Adam teaching Seth that in Adam's 700th year, which already gives the whole new, like, grandpa's seen too much energy vibes. But Adam says, in essence, listen to me, my son. He tells Seth that when he and Eve were first created, they, quote, moved in glory. Eve taught him a word of knowledge of the eternal God. And he said that they resembled great eternal angels. And here's where the text immediately swerves out of the lane that most people expect, because Adam says that they were higher than the God who created them and the powers with them, and that they did not know this God.
I have a real fucking question right now.
Yeah.
Seth?
Third son. Cain, Abel, Seth was the third son.
Cain, Abel, Seth?
Yeah.
Girl. 700 years old.
Did you write that in there? I thought I deleted some of the script as we started.
That was
so
me
sorry.
genuinely
700 years old.
Genuinely gagged when I read this. I said,
okay,
wait a damn minute.
I thought
Seth?
I wrote it and I was like, Noelle's gonna hate that.
No, that's me asking real
I'm
questions.
sorry. Yes. Cain, Abel, Seth is the third, and they lived for hundreds of years.
No, they didn't.
Back in the day.
No,
yes,
they didn't.
did.
No, they
yeah,
didn't.
they did.
No, they
yeah,
didn't.
They did.
No, they didn't.
They did.
He was
I
not.
don't know I don't know what you want me to tell you.
He was
not. They wrote it down. They wrote it down.
Sure.
Noelle, they wrote it down.
Did not.
They wrote it down, Noelle. I feel like I'm 700 years old, bitch. You gonna tell me I'm wrong?
Yes, because here's the thing.
You don't feel like you're 1,000 years old right now. We just talked about how we couldn't storm Scientology because our knees are paper mache.
Yes, but that's maybe like 75, because here's the thing too. Then, like, we'll just say fucking, I don't even know. The early hundreds, bitch, they were dying at like 5. The average life expectancy.
That's a myth.
No, it's not. What's mythical about that? Motherfuckers don't live to be like 80 on the norm here in modern times.
Yeah, that's because our government is running a psyop with the HARP project, and they're seeding our
pre-cloud seeding. We had motherfuckers dying at 22. 22 was old age, dying. You know, I just like.
I don't know what to tell you. Methuselah was 969 years old.
No, he wasn't.
But by King David's time, standard of life went back to what we more know it to.
Like how it always was. I cannot, this is my thing. These motherfuckers are like, kill gay people, but Adam was 700 years old. Fuck you. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking chewing on crayons right now? Are you playing with me? There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way that, first of all, his name was Seth. Is there fucking Kyle and Brian too? Is fucking Dan there? Give me a fucking break. How did we go Seth Bartholomew? How the fuck did that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're lying to my face. You're playing in my fucking face. They're like, oh, and he lived to be 700 years old with the talking snake. Fuck you. Fuck you, you bad writers, you bad, uncreative, untalented writers of the Bible. You're lying. You're lying, and you got the bitches gagged. You have the bitches gagged. We went on crusades in history. We burned down the Library of Alexandria for a bullshit, bad written fairy tale. Girl, I did not know that they were out here. I knew that they were like, and the snake was a devil, let he talk. Liza Minnelli. But I did not think that they were out here with their full chest being like, and he was 700 years old. Fuck you. Actually, fuck you.
Listen, Noelle.
No.
According to answersingenesis.org.
No.
There is a genetic reason for people living that long. And it's just because you don't understand what the environment was like at that time. And you don't understand how DNA systems repair mutations that are caused by ultraviolet light. And that's all I have to say to you about that. Yeah, that's all I have to say to you about that.
Yeah, the climate that destroyed the fucking dinosaurs was making bitches live to be 700. Yeah.
I almost want to say it was Moses who said that, like, nah, we got to be less old. Or someone around Moses's time was when they're like, we can't be this old anymore.
And here's my other tea about this is like, if the ultimate curse to humanity would be living forever, like that's true misery. Like that's one of the moral points we learned, right? Is that like death is a gift because like being immortal is like a punishment, truly. And then these motherfuckers are out here being like, and I live to be 700 years old. I don't
think that's in the Bible though. Like living long is a curse.
No,
but that's you're thinking of Blade, the vampire.
No. But yes, my Bible, but it's also just like you don't have to read the Bible to know that like one of the human truths we have all come to. You don't need a fucking religious text of any kind to tell you that like immortality is the true curse because like living and it is an experience, not an eternity, and like eternity would be punishment. Like you don't need a religious text to tell you that. It's almost like innate. It's almost like DNA built into us telling us that, and we know, right? And these motherfuckers are out here fully converting entire populations, world wars, 700 years old. I will never get over this. I will never get over this. This has changed me even more. It almost has made me revert back to my like anti-Christian ways because I'm like, there is no fucking way. There's no way you are fucking putting bitches in conversion camps for this horse for this bullshit. There's no fucking way. There's no way.
Here's a fun tidbit of Mormon lore.
God,
which they will now, will be denied sometimes, but it is very much true. So when Cain kills Abel, people say that there was a curse put upon him, and Mormons believe that the curse was becoming dark-skinned. And according to the Bible, Eve's punishment, childbirth and periods. Noel's not muted right now. She's just silent. Isn't that crazy? Like Mormons, like you can even Google it. Like, where do Mormons?
I'm gonna cry. I can't. Like, this is crazy. This is
black
crazy.
People came from. The skin of blackness. The Book of Mormon teaches that God cursed the Lamanites by changing their skin color. The curse of Cain. Descendants of Cain carry a marker curse of black skin.
This is why they didn't let black people into the fucking temple until the 80s. Oh.
You know, it was in our lifetime, I think while we were in high school, maybe, that they decided that women could wear pants to church. And that was a huge thing. Isn't that fun?
What
I know.
Fuck? What the fuck?
That's Mormonism, though. That's not like regular run-of-the-mill Christianity.
No. But like, I'm being so fucking serious right now. Like, people read this and they were like, yeah, let's burn the village down for this bullshit. Like I just like, it's so
what's crazy to me
bad.
Is there are bigger claims in the Bible other than their life expectancy, and I've never heard you go off on it like this. There's one biblical thing where they say that the sun's
what? The sun's what? The sun's what?
The sun stopped in the sky, and if the sun stopped in the sky, it would imply that Earth had stopped rotating.
But it
would all be fucking dead.
But it didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
It never did.
That's what I'm saying. Is you being upset, you being this upset when there are other bigger.
This is my first time hearing this.
I didn't know you had never heard that people used to. Noah was like over 700 years old.
No, he wasn't. No,
so the book says.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't, though. I need you to tell me you don't believe that.
Do you believe this?
I don't know what I believe.
I don't believe the Bible is literal, but I think it would be cool as hell to have Merlin people out here living. Um, I'm
You're lying.
I'm gooped that this is the first time you've heard that
I've
people
never
used to live
heard.
that long.
They know because they didn't. They didn't because they really didn't.
I thought you would know. I thought this was basic biblical knowledge.
No
Like I
one,
would admit
no
that
one
there
is
are
telling
deep
me
cuts.
that they're fucking 700 years old.
I didn't know you knew that.
No one is saying that. No one
I
is
did not
saying
know
the
that you knew
sun
that.
stopped.
The Bible said it. There's a
Then
literal movie
it's
about it.
a lie. Then the Bible is a lie.
But that's
Can
what there's
what
a
do you mean?
there was a literal court case where a teacher got put on trial because he said that like you can't take the Bible literally because if you took this literal story from the Bible, that we all would be dead.
And he would be
And
correct.
and they put him on trial. Like this really happened. They used to take teachers and people and take them to court if they denied shit that happened in the Bible.
It's just
We need to get you caught up on some of like regular biblical history.
I don't want it. It's
Okay.
the thing that upsets me is just like it's so obviously fake. It's such bullshit. It's so poorly written fan fiction. Like I would believe Game of Thrones as the Bible versus this absolute fucking horseshit. And motherfuckers kill and still kill in the name of this poorly written, illiterate fan fiction.
Here's what I like. There are claims that like Noah wasn't exactly human and that's why he lived so long. I fucking love that shit. I love the science fiction aspect of it. So if you ask if
Don't say that too loud, bitch. Elrond's gonna come and get
I know,
you.
well, so when you say like, do you believe it? I believe it the way I fucking believe in like Nessie, dude.
No,
like
but
I
you
think there's some
can't.
element here.
You can't.
I think there's some fucking element here of I'm like, is this ancient alien stuff? Like, were we really dipping and diving with like other species that we don't even know about, man?
But like, that is not why they fucking did the Crusades, bitch.
I know.
You know,
but
like
we also have an episode saying that during the Crusades that the Grim Reaper was a fucking alien, and I buy into that shit. It is so cool.
I want to be like this is sci-fi, but 98.5% of the motherfuckers out here who are Bible thumpers don't, and that's my problem.
Yeah. I think that biblical lyricism and stuff like that is very dangerous, for sure. I agree with you on that. That's fucking crazy, and that should not be the fundamental belief of like just natural scientific understanding. I don't think that should be.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I'm fully vaccinated. Sometimes I feel like you think I'm the enemy, Noelle.
Sometimes I am like, there's no way that she believes this though. And then you're like, well, you know, but maybe
why fucking not though?
Because people burn motherfuckers for this shit.
Yeah.
We bomb countries in the Middle East for this shit.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, that
we made the atom bomb for this shit. Like we destroy humanity
not
because of this
people
shit.
over Bigfoot. Why can't it be fun like that?
Because they're too stuck on 700-year-old people.
Why can't I fuck with Bigfoot?
Oh my god.
While simultaneously being fully vaccinated. Like Nicholas Flamel, the guy who supposedly like created the stone that gave him immortal life. I love buying into that alchemy stuff. And that's has nothing to do with the Bible. I think that motherfucker's bit bopping around somewhere because he found the secret to immortality. Gotta believe, Noelle. You're never gonna be able to fly in Neverland.
No. No. Guess who's there? Adam's 700-year-old ass. Fucking I can't. Anyway, God, it just like really got me.
That was a tangent. We could have a two-parter now because of that tangent.
Anyway. Now pause there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
Because this is not a small claim. Yeah, girl, you're telling me that is the ancient theological equivalent of Adam looking around Eden and whispering, "This is not headquarters, this is a branch office." That is where the conspiracy architecture begins, because in this Gnostic framing, the creator of the material world is not necessarily the highest divine reality. There is a distinction between the eternal God, the true source, and the lower creator or ruler associated with the visible world. In many Gnostic systems, this lower creator is called Demiurge
Demiurge.
Demiurge, or sometimes Sakla.
Hmm.
And he is not presented as the ultimate God of truth, but as a lesser power and administrator of a flawed material reality. Jesus, I almost had a stroke. This is why Gnostic mythology has such a weirdly modern feel. It is not saying the world is beautiful and everything is basically fine. It is saying the world is managed by cosmic middle management, and middle management has been lying and on the quarterly reports.
And we talked about this a little bit ago when we did our biblical conspiracy theory
Mm-hmm.
podcast, because my take was that the Tower of Babel was a nuclear weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then yours was that the God in the Bible was really the bad guy. And that's
Yeah.
basically Gnosticism. So we had
Yeah.
talked about it before,
Yeah.
where we're like, how can things be so shit now?
Yes. Yes.
And Gnosticism steps in and says, here is this very plausible explanation
Yes.
as to why it feels this way.
It would also, here's the thing too, is like sometimes you're like landlords and landlordship is so evil and dark and twisted and demented. How could it be of this world? And then you're like, oh, it isn't. It's from this it comes from this reality where we are one of many planets, realities, peoples, italics could be different looking, run by shitty landlords. We're like, we are in the apartment complex that doesn't have hot water and the heater's broken.
We are in the Matrix where we're literally just being farmed for content and energy.
God, if they're watching us like the Kardashians, what a bummer season this is. I'll tell you that.
No, this season's so interesting now.
No, it's not. No, it's not. They're like, oh, it's gonna be over soon. But what is it? Dem or Deem?
Demiurge.
Demiurge. If you strip away the ancient terminology and put it in modern office language, is the being who has authority but not ultimate wisdom. He has the keys to the building, but did not design reality at the highest level. He is the spiritual landlord who painted over the mold and raised rent. He is the one who says, we value transparency here, while deleting the meeting notes. In Gnostic imagination, the problem with the world is not just the humans make bad choices, although we absolutely do. Because have you seen how people behave on planes? You want to know what's so funny? I wrote that before the fucking virus, bitch. I wrote that before the rat virus got on that fucking plane,
Oh my
bitch.
God.
I wrote this when I was just thinking about like the guy who's 4 rows behind you and the plane hasn't even made it to the gate and he's standing up getting his luggage thinking he's going to cut you off. The problem is that the whole system is compromised.
There's definitely a litmus test with how people behave on airplanes that will tell you how they are as a person.
Yeah, and most of them are evil.
They don't return the cards. That's all
Actually, I'm gonna tangent here another second. So I was watching like oh my God, Tim Dillon, problematic. No one look him up, problematic. Problematic comedian.
I'm looking him up, but I won't say anything.
But he was saying like, I hate when people say that like the Epstein files could never be real because we would know like not that many people can keep a secret. When that's like the explanation to like why something could never be like something truly evil or something insane or some sort of conspiracy, like the moon landing, right? They're like,
yeah,
not that many people could hold a secret, right? And he's like, you think there's places full of heroes? You think we're surrounded by a bunch of fucking heroes? You really think? Like, people watch their neighbors get mugged and stay silent. You think that we're surrounded, this country is made of heroes, that these are the same people who like fought the British? No. You fuck with their money or you threaten their money, they will die with those secrets. And I was like, oh my God, no, that's so true because like we have no heroes in this fucking world. Like no one is piping up to be like, actually, like we can count how many whistleblowers that have been in our lifetime on one hand. And there were 20,000 employees under them who said nothing. So I'm like, that is the tea actually right there. That is actually the fucking tea. The whole system is compromised.
It's fucked. Yeah.
We are born into a lower order where the visible authorities may not be the true authorities. And once that idea is in the room, everything changes. Because if the visible world is not the highest truth, then official explanations become suspicious. If the creator of the system is not the true God, then obedience to the system may not equal righteousness. If Adam and Eve once possessed glory and knowledge, but lost it after being divided and darkened, by the way, eating an apple, that was really it, then the human condition is not just sin, it's amnesia. We are not only guilty, we are forgetful. We have forgotten where we came from, forgotten what we were, forgotten the higher realm, forgotten the word of knowledge, forgotten the light that used to breathe within us. Get off of Tim
The
Dillon, bitch.
I know. The idea is old, but it plugs directly into the modern conspiracy mindset because every conspiracy pipeline begins with a wound in memory. Like you have forgotten, they've erased this, they hid your history, they changed the story, they rewrote the timeline, what have you. So whether the claim is true, false, exaggerated, or mixed, the emotional hook is always the same. You were born inside a story written by someone else who benefits from your ignorance.
Also, you skipped over the best example.
What was the best example? They took the fruit out of the fruit of the loom.
Yeah, they removed the cornucopia from the fruit of the loom.
Yeah. They also changed Berenstain Bears. Stern Collider has altered our timelines where everybody is experiencing Mandela effects differently.
Daily.
And this is actually exactly why the apocalypse of Adam feels like forbidden fuel. It's not just old religious text. It is a myth about spiritual memory loss under a fake authority. It tells us that Adam and Eve had a glory that left them. It tells us that they became darkened in their hearts and that they served their creator in fear and slavery. It tells us that Adam receives a revelation from mysterious figures who wake him from the sleep of death. And that phrase alone could power 1,000 message boards, the sleep of death. Because what is the favorite command of every conspiracy theorist from ancient mysticism to modern live streamer? It's wake up. Wake up, sheeple. Wake up before it's too late. Wake up and realize the symbols are everywhere. Wake up and ask why every institution tells you the same story. Wake up and notice that the map does not match the territory. Wake up and explain to your family at Thanksgiving that the cranberry sauce is shaped like an occult portal. Now, obviously, the apocalypse of Adam is not talking about modern political conspiracies. It belongs to its own religious world with its own myth and symbols. But the emotional structure is familiar, and that is that humanity is asleep and a hidden truth exists. The visible rulers do not want truth known, and a revealer comes to awaken the chosen or spiritual seed. The world moves towards catastrophe and unveiling, and that is apocalypse in the truest sense. It's not merely destruction, but revelation. It's pulling back the curtain and showing what was hidden. And that is where we need to correct people on the way that they use apocalypse. Because today, when people say apocalypse, they usually mean fireballs, zombies, earthquakes, and empty grocery shelves, guys waiting to use their bunker finally. But in the original sense of the word, apocalypse is unveiling. It is revelation. It is the end of the world imagery matters for sure, but the deeper meaning is actually exposure. The hidden structure becomes visible, the mask comes off, the powers are named, and the fake story collapses. And that is why apocalypse and conspiracy are cousins. Not twins necessarily, but cousins who definitely talk at the family reunion. Because apocalypse says the truth will be revealed at the end of the age, and conspiracy says that the truth is being hidden right now. Apocalypse looks forward to the unveiling, while conspiracy tries to force the unveiling early. Apocalypse waits for divine disclosure, and conspiracy builds a corkboard and starts pinning yarn to pictures of cardinals.
It also ties into that, like, when we did that conspiracy theories of the Bible, that this is hell, like this is the punishment, that we came to the agreement that the victors of war are the ones who write the history, and we're being told a history that doesn't really line up or add up when you like think about like if this guy's supposed to be like all knowing and all powerful and all like kind and forgiving and gracious, and like why do all of these evil things happen? And you're like, oh, because it's like actually the evil is like running around, like actually we're controlled by evilness. And so it's very, I think I actually fuck with Gnosticism in a very big way. So when Adam tells Seth, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, what he has learned, he is not just passing down information, he is passing down a counter story. He is telling Seth that the official version of reality is incomplete. He's telling Seth there is a higher God than the ruler who claimed them. He's telling Seth that a seed, a lineage, a people of knowledge will persist throughout cycles of destruction. And once Seth enters the picture, the whole thing gets even more conspiracy friendly because now we are dealing not only with hidden knowledge, but with hidden inheritance.
And Seth is really crucial in many Gnostic traditions. He is not just the third son who appears after the tragedy of Cain and Abel, but he also becomes the figure through whom a spiritual race or seed is imagined to continue. In Sethian Gnostic thought, Seth can represent the line of those who belong to the higher knowledge, those who preserve something from the internal realm, and those who are not fully owned by the lower powers. And then there you have it, the bloodline motive, or at least the spiritual lineage motive, the idea that history contains a hidden people who carry a truth that the rulers cannot destroy.
Are you saying motif?
Motif, what did I say?
Motive?
I have a TBI, Noelle, and I think it's really unfair for you to bring that
Okay,
up.
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No one heard it, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So this is where we have to be careful, but it's also where the web gets interesting because ancient religious lineage is not the same thing as modern bloodline conspiracy. In the text, the quote unquote seed language is spiritual, mythic, and theological, but it does not automatically mean that there is a literal family tree that you can trace through medieval bank accounts and papal dinner parties. But conspiracy thinking really loves to literarize symbols. So if an ancient text says seed, the modern mind starts looking for descendants of sperm, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if it says hidden knowledge, the modern mind starts looking for secret societies. If it says rulers, the modern mind starts looking for names. If it says true people are scattered amongst nations, someone's going to make a map. And once a map exists, the comment sections become the crime scene. So this is the first major turn in the pipeline. Spiritual seed becomes secret bloodline. And from there, the theory really begins to grow legs. Because bloodline thinking is one of the oldest forms of political imagination. Kings ruled by blood, priests inherited roles, noble families married strategically, dynasties preserved property, aristocrats used genealogy as a weapon, empires claimed divine ancestry. And even today, family names carry power in politics, finance, media, and culture. So when conspiracy theorists obsess over bloodlines, they are not inventing the importance of inheritance out of thin air. They're taking a real historical fact that families have preserved power across generations, and then they're inflating it into a cosmic system where certain names become almost supernatural. And then this is where old European noble families enter the chat. Because if you're going to be building a conspiracy web around hidden power, you are eventually going to end up in Rome. You can't avoid it. Rome is a gravity well. Rome has empire, church, ritual, archives, Latin, bloodlines, art, martyrdom, corruption, saints, bankers, castles, secret passageways, and men in robes who look like they either know the mysteries of heaven or at the very least, they know where the bodies are buried, maybe even both. But the Vatican alone is basically a conspiracy generator with marble floors, and you don't even need to add anything. The aesthetics are already doing 70% of the work, and into that world comes the Orsini family.
I mean, fuck, yeah, the Vatican's watching that damn mirror. What are they doing with that?
Their doors are so big.
For what? All the secrets to make their way through.
Yep.
Now, this is where we stop joking for a second. No, it is not. No, it's not.
Not lies. Lies, Manelli, lies.
Because the Orsini are not made up. They are not some random surname pulled from a forum post called Truth Warrior Megathread Part 7. The Orsini were one of the great Roman aristocratic families, deeply connected to the politics of medieval and Renaissance Rome. Britannica traces their origins, stripped of legend, to a figure named Ursus?
Yeah.
DiParo. Recorded, that was so American. Jesus!
DiParo.
DiParo. Recorded in Rome in 998. Guess how old they were living to? Probably 7. The family became especially important after, is that really like Giganzino? Is that really his name?
Giancinto.
Okay. Orsini became Pope Celestine the Third in the late 12th century. What the fuck? And over the centuries, the Orsini produced popes, cardinals, soldiers, statesmen, and major players in church politics.
So this conspiracy of the Orsini family is not going to begin from nothing. And that's very important because it begins from a real historical foundation because the Orsini were really powerful and they really were tied to the papacy and they really were part of Roman noble politics. And they did feud with other powerful families like the Colonna, and they did move through the world of land titles, alliances, influence, and church hierarchy. Definitely not fiction. This is the documented boring part of the family, but it's already like still dramatic enough that it would be interesting enough to watch it as like an HBO series. But conspiracy culture does what conspiracy culture always does. It takes real influence and asks whether it is merely the visible tip of something much older and darker. If the Orsini were powerful in Rome, were they just nobles or were they custodians of something? So if they produced popes and cardinals, were they just politically successful or were they embedded in a hidden command structure? If Roman aristocratic families supported and benefited from papal power, were they simply part of church history or were they part of what later lore calls the black nobility? Because if there is a black nobility, then there is a hidden figure above even the visible religious hierarchy. And that is where you get to the Gray Pope. But let us slow down and define some stepping stones, because this is where the web starts to look less like a web and more like machine. Like we started with the apocalypse of Adam, and now we're in Roman popes. So first, Noel, there's the white pope. That is the visible pope, the public face of the Roman Catholic Church. We all know him. First American pope we have.
Chicago Pope.
Yes. Then in conspiracy circles, people talk about the Black Pope, which is usually referring to the superior general of the Jesuits, a real office that acquired the nickname partly because of Jesuit influence and the black cassock associated with the order. Then in lore comes the Gray Pope, imagined as the hidden power above both white and black, a shadow ruler who does not need to appear publicly because his authority is older, deeper, and tied to aristocratic bloodlines rather than elected religious office. So what makes the Gray Pope idea so sticky is that it gives the conspiracy mind a final boss. And we love final bosses. We don't like systems. Systems are messy. Systems involve economics, history, institutions, ideology, class, technology, bureaucracy, bad incentives, human selfishness, blah, 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 blah. And most of world history can be explained by rich people wanting more money than they already have. And that's accurate, but it's not emotionally satisfying. It doesn't fit on a thumbnail. It's hard to chant. The Gray Pope, however, is emotionally satisfying because he turns a network into a person. He takes centuries of religious politics, aristocratic power, banking suspicions, Vatican secrecy, Jesuit mythology, end times fears, and he compresses them all into one hidden figure, one man behind the curtain, one secret monarch, one world spider in the center of the web. And instead of asking people to understand the overlapping systems of power, the theory just says, no, it's just one guy.
Then this would be like the Illuminati.
Yeah, if the Illuminati were one man.
If the Illuminati was a cabal, then the ruler of it is the Gray Pope.
Yes, the Pope runs the Illuminati. The Gray Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So like we finally have
and that's
an answer.
really yeah,
when
and that's
people
how
say who
human
the
storytelling
Illuminati
works.
is. Yeah.
He's the man behind the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Man behind the curtain. We take death, we make a Grim Reaper. We take chaos and we make Loki. We take institutional corruption, we make a Shadow Pope. It makes sense. And in some modern conspiracy materials floating around online, the Gray Pope role is attached to Pepe Orsini, often identified. Pepe, what did I say?
No,
Pepe?
I'm just thinking about. No, you said Pepe. I'm thinking about. I'm thinking honestly, my conspiracy brain is turned on now, and you say like Pepe Orsini is like the Gray Pope, and he is the Illuminati, and then I'm thinking like Pepe the Frog, like
or Pepe Le Pew, the adorable little skunk.
Yeah, but the meme, like the fucking.
Oh, Kick Pepe.
Yes.
Chaos magic.
Chaos magic, exactly. God, thanks for catching
God.
up. Thanks for
Chaos
catching
magic.
up.
Man.
Sigils.
I went to adorable story or adorable childhood story cartoons.
Yeah, I'm like, what is it called when you think about something and it becomes real?
A tulpa.
Tulpa. Pepe the Tulpa.
Yeah. Yeah, Pepe the Frog got Donald Trump elected because they did kick magic on fucking 4chan.
Yeah, and here he is again as the Gray Pope.
Pepe Orsini, often identified with Domenico Napoleon Orsini, Duke of Gravina, and the claims go far beyond ordinary influence. The lore says he sits above the Rothschilds, above the Rockefellers, above the Vatican, above the black nobility, above the whole pyramid. He is
Hey, real
above
quick,
the eye.
did
Yeah.
you know that, I forget the name of the movie, but it's the one where like they play a game with the bride after getting married and they hunt
Ready or
her for,
not?
yes, ready or not. You know that
Hmm.
that's apparently based off of the Rothschilds, that that's a thing that
Really?
they do.
I had no idea. I'd
Yeah,
believe it though.
I know. Anyway, had to let you know. I
Interesting.
know.
So the language surrounding it is always very dramatic. You have puppet master, hidden hand, most powerful man in the world, the one who directs both the black and white pope, and the aristocratic authority behind global control. Because in conspiracy cosmology, that visible power is never enough. The person you can see is never the real person, and the institution you can name is never the final institution. There is always going to be another room behind the room, and another hand behind the hand, and another pope behind the pope. And that is why conspiracies are structurally Gnostic. They are built on the belief that the visible is a decoy and the real truth belongs to those who possess hidden knowledge. So now we're back to Adam. And I
Right.
hope everyone can see the loop here. Because in the apocalypse of Adam, Adam says that the visible creator is not the highest truth. He and Eve once had glory, but became trapped under a lower ruler. Knowledge was lost, and revelation comes through hidden disclosure. The seed must be preserved, and the rulers of the lower order attempt to control or destroy what comes from above. And that is the ancient mythic pattern. So, in comparison with modern gray pope lore, the visible pope is not the highest religious power. The visible institutions are not the real rulers, and the public history is not true history. Knowledge has been hidden, bloodlines preserve authority, and a hidden ruler stands above the official structure. And that is the modern conspiracy pattern. And I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm just saying that it rhymes so loudly that it could wake the neighbors. So let's talk about the Antichrist. Yes. Because once you have a hidden structure, once you have false authority, and once you have a world system built on deception, Christian end times imagination has a ready made category for that, and that is the Antichrist system. In many Christian interpretations, the Antichrist is not merely a bad person, but he is actually deception embodied, a counterfeit savior, a false king, and a ruler who appears as order but brings destruction, and who appears as unity but demands worship. One who appears as peace but serves rebellion against God. Now, if you connect that to the apocalypse of Adam, the text itself does not give you the Antichrist in the latter Christian sense. It does not say, beware the gray pope. He will have a suspicious coat and possibly excellent stationery. But it gives you the raw ingredients that later conspiracy interpretation loves. That false ruler, hidden knowledge, chosen seed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when you mix those ingredients together with things like the Book of Revelation, Daniel, medieval anti-papal polemics, Jesuit conspiracies, bloodline theories, banking suspicions, and the modern internet's endless appetite for secret hierarchies, you get what we like to call the forbidden text to Antichrist pipeline. And it reveals like this, or it works like this. Adam reveals that the world is not governed by the highest truth, which creates a suspicion of visual authority. That suspicion becomes a theology of hidden rulers, which becomes a search for their earthly representatives. The search moves into history, where Rome and the Vatican become obvious centers of symbolic power. And then the old aristocratic families like the Orsini become candidates for hidden continuity because they connect bloodline, church, land, politics, and papal influence. Then Black nobility lore frames those families not merely as historical elites, but also as a shadow class. And the Grey Pope lore personifies the shadow class in one hidden ruler. Then Christian end times fears places that hidden ruler within the larger drama of the Antichrist preparation. That is the web of conspiracy here.
And what makes it seductive is that each step has just enough plausibility, symbolism, or historical texture to make the next step feel possible. Powerful families did exist. Rome did shape history. The papacy did wield enormous political authority. Secret diplomacy did happen. The Jesuits did become influential enough to inspire fear and myth. Banking dynasties did affect world events. Girl, we fucking know. Governments do lie. Churches do cover things up. Archives do contain secrets. Aristocrats do marry strategically. Institutions do protect themselves. None of that is imaginary. The question is whether those facts prove a single hidden gray pope hierarchy guiding the Antichrist system, or whether the conspiracy is taking real fragments and arranging them into a mythic pattern because the human mind hates loose ends. And let me tell you, the human mind despises loose ends. We would rather believe in one terrifying puppet master than accept a world run by 10,000 committees, market incentives, ancient grudges, and meteoric bureaucrats, inherited privilege, religious symbolism, and rich men who cannot stop buying influence like it's a collectible card game. A single villain is scary, but at least it's narratively clean. A system is harder to fight because the system does not always have a face, it has paperwork.
Which brings us right back to Gnosticism. Now let's take a look at the ancient text a little deeper, because the Apocalypse of Adam is not a simple world bad, secret good document. It is more complex and frankly a little weirder than that, because after Adam describes the loss of glory, the text moves into visions of destruction and rescue. It talks about a flood that destroys the flesh of the earth, and it also talks about those connected to the knowledge of the eternal realms. It talks about Noah and his sons, divisions of the earth, kingdoms, attempts by the lower ruler to destroy the people in knowledge, and then scenes of fire, sulfur, blinding mists, clouds of light, and rescuing powers who take the people into eternal realms. And then there's the illuminator of knowledge, a revealer figure whose origin is explained by different kingdoms. One kingdom says he came from one source, another says something else, and then this text lists multiple competing explanations. And that section in and of itself is fascinating because it shows that even inside the ancient texts, this revealer is contested because everyone has a theory about where the saving of knowledge comes from. Everyone has like an origin story and everyone has their own explanation for the one who exposes the system. But let's go back to the Orsini, because this is the point where someone listening is probably saying like, okay, why them? Why this family? And the answer to that is that the Orsini sit exactly in the kind of historical position that conspiracy culture loves. They're old enough to be ancient, real enough to avoid being dismissed as fiction, powerful enough to matter, and connected enough through the papacy to trigger Vatican suspicion, and aristocratic enough to feed bloodline imagination. They're not obscure, they don't come from nowhere, and they really are Roman nobility with papal ties, and that is conspiracy real estate. They were tied to medieval political structures and they supported papal interests against imperial factors. They held land and titles and they produced churchmen. They're also part of the aristocratic machinery of Rome. And that alone makes them important. But then once you kind of start thinking about it, you realize that important becomes central, connected becomes commanding, and old becomes ancient bloodline. And from there, the theory grafts onto anything. We have Black nobility, we have the Knights of Malta, Jesuits, banking families, the cult, all of that. And then eventually we get to the Antichrist. Now, even if the Grey Pope theory isn't historically proven, it still reveals a deep suspicion of that visual authority because we're creating a belief that the official religion has been captured, it's been got. And it also is showing that there is anxiety about inherited wealth and that modern politics, as we all know, is merely a theater and that the real decisions happen elsewhere. It reveals that the Antichrist system is not a future event, but it's really an infrastructure that we've already built. We're just waiting for the right fucking face. And that's where it becomes more than just internet lore, because what we're really seeing now is a mirror. And it just, like, obviously people show us that they don't trust governments. I don't trust the fucking government. I don't trust the church. I don't trust the bank. I don't trust medias. I don't trust universities. I don't trust the official history. Distrust is earned because institutions have lied aplenty. And sometimes it goes too far because that machine turns every fact into fiction. But either way, the hunger underneath is real. People want to know who is steering the ship, and we don't fucking know. And a darker possibility that I don't want to think about is that no one is steering the ship, that there is no man giving commands from a hidden
Feels
throne.
that way.
And that the horror is worse. It's actually just steered by greed. Oh, I don't want it to be that way.
Two things can be true at once. They could be the Illuminati and greedy old businessmen.
Exactly. Really, we have to confront the whole architecture. But you know what? Conspiracy also on the flippity flip would be like, that's what they want you to think, that no one is steering the ship.
Yeah.
So what happens when people believe that the visible world is a managed illusion? Because in the Apocalypse of Adam Noel, that belief is spiritual. The lower ruler is part of a mythic cosmology, and the world of matter is not even ultimate. That modern conspiracy theory, this belief is now becoming political, where we are just ruled by the lower knowledge bullshit and have been abandoned by God long ago. And
Yeah.
really, the apocalypse is just disclosure. The
Mhm.
Antichrist is going to be the system's final mask. And that's where we are tracing tonight. So let's talk about archons really quick, because that word floats around a lot in these circles. And in ancient Gnostic contexts, archons are rulers or powers associated with the lower cosmic order. They are not just politicians with bad suits, but rather metaphysical authorities, cosmic wardens, managers of the lower realm. But online, the word archon often becomes a spiritual insult for anyone perceived as part of the control system. Politicians are archons, bankers are archons, media executives are archons, tech billionaires are archons. Literally anything that is keeping you down is an archon. And I
And
will
this,
testify to that before council.
I know, right? I mean, look to my old landlord.
Mm-hmm.
This matters because once people start naming modern institutions as archonic, sounds too close to iconic, which is a bummer. They are not just criticizing them politically, they are spiritualizing power. A corrupt government is not merely corrupt, it is part of a cosmic prison. A bank is not merely exploitative, it is a feeding mechanism. A church scandal is not merely human sin, it is proof the institution is captured by lower rulers. A global crisis is not merely geopolitics, it is ritual. Everything becomes charged with hidden meaning. That the evil is destiny. That's T.
Yeah.
That can make people more alert to manipulation, but it can also make them impossible to reach because once the world becomes a total symbolic battlefield, ordinary explanations feel like cover stories. And that is both the thrill and the danger.
And it also leaves us with like a layered reading because on the first layer, the apocalypse of Adam is ancient Gnostic apocalypse, where Adam tells Seth that they were once higher than God, that they had false rule, hidden knowledge, destruction, and then rescue. But on the second layer, it belongs to a religious world that reimagines Genesis through a more radical lens, turning Adam from failed ancestor to the ultimate whistleblower of cosmic secrets. And then on the third layer, it provides a theme that readers can later connect to a broader apocalyptic thought. And that is that rulers and deception, all salvation, are all symbols of like the end of an age. Finally, we get the fourth layer, the modern conspiracy culture that sees these themes in maps and puts them on institutions like the Vatican, aristocratic families like the Orsini, and then ultimately figures like the Grey Pope. And lastly, that the fifth layer, Christian end time speculation, turns the entire structure towards the Antichrist. And that would be the world system and the false ruler. Not a straight line by the web. It's like you throw a rock at a windshield and explode it. But that's kind of, I think, why the apocalypse of Adam actually resonates, because it tells a story where humanity's pain is not meaningless,
Mm-hmm.
that the rulers of us are not ultimate, but rather like what was lost can be restored, and that somewhere, even though we have all this bullshit of like the gray pope, there might be a hidden seed that survives. What if it's a fucking hantavirus, dude, and it's
I
gonna
know.
wipe out all these rich motherfuckers?
I don't think we're that lucky yet.
I don't think so either. But maybe the conspiracy theory that we earned along the way is one that doesn't say that it really is one family that secretly owns the world, but maybe it's the deeper conspiracy is that power has trained us to recognize all of this bullshit in outdated costumes. We know what a king looks like, so we miss the boardroom. We know what a pope looks like, so we miss the network. We know what an empire looks like, so we miss the treaty, the debt structure, the algorithm, the data center, the
God.
investment vehicle, the nonprofit, and the advisory councils. We fucking look for crowns, dude, but true power wears a lanyard.
That a truer sentence has never been spoken.
Ugh. And the gray pope is the suspicion that the visible world is a performance and that modernity did not abolish old power, but rather disguised it behind democracy. Where democracy sits, you get oligarchy, and behind religion sits control, behind finance sits bloodlines, and behind bloodlines probably sits something older than politics. And that's when you bring the Antichrist into it, because the shape becomes apocalyptic. The Antichrist wouldn't merely be a tyrant, but he would be the final convergence of all this bullshit of like religion, peace, authority, salvation, like this false light And in that frame, the Grey Pope becomes a priestly architect, the hidden religious political force that is preparing the world to accept the counterfeit. And again, that's not like documented historical claim,
Hmm.
but it is the conspiracy theological narrative. Um, and, I feel like this is also the part where the homeschoolers go in and they think that the Antichrist is going to be like credit cards. And they're like, or, like the
Is it
COVID vaccine.
not? Is it not? I mean, not the COVID
Remember when they said
vaccine,
that the COVID vaccine was like the sign of the devil 666?
which is so fun because I really think that like Donald Trump is the Antichrist because like he is the face of like anti-humanism, but he's obviously being controlled by a million other puppeteers. But he is like the face that we see, and he has a whole entire dynasty behind him, and he
Mhm.
has blind following, um, who genuinely are like fueled off of doing evil and harm and vileness and wickedness. And it feels like a perfect little red ruby slipper that fits. Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
because like he himself doesn't have to do anything, but he's like it's Manson-esque. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he
definitely.
has like and genuinely like dynasties of wealth and name behind him.
Yeah.
Um, but he's tied to all of these like genuine disturbances of humanity, like this true unbridled foaming at the mouth evil. And they
Yeah.
think it's good and they think that they're right and they think that they're doing the right thing. Like it definitely feels like he's the Antichrist, which is funny that they would like Trump supporters like MAGA brain rot heads would be like, the vaccine is the fucking mark of the beast. Like, of course you would say that, you serpent tongue, you
Yeah.
deceiver.
Yeah.
Of course. Of
I know.
course you
There
would
you go.
fucking say that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so shitty, but I feel like even when you get into like these conspiracy minded things where you're like, we're in the end of the world, there's also something else that kind of repeats and resonates. That you could, if you're looking for the silver lining, it's that with the apocalypse of Adam, Adam is not simply telling Seth about his past. He's not merely warning him that the structure of reality and like everything we know has been misrepresented, that the powers who rule us are not the highest power, that we've fucking lost everything and hope is dire. He's saying destruction is gonna fucking come because we have subjected ourselves to be ruled by this bullshit. But rescue can also come. We may have lost that seed of knowledge, but the will to survive is going to like persevere. So whether you read it like mythologically, psychology, conspiratorially, or even just like in a religious sense, it does have a powerful framework where like just waking the fuck up and resisting in any way you can. It's like a step forward. Um, because when you think about the Grey Pope, it is a literal claim that there is a living person secretly controlling the entire world. But as a piece of folklore, that's really fascinating because if you put it into a symbol, it becomes really powerful, right? Like, because if you look at like the positive, if you take the positive of the Christian belief, that is that we have one single entity ruling our entire world, and that is God. But then when you tell people that there is one single entity ruling the entire world, and that is like the Gray Pope or the Great Deceiver, Satan, they're like, what? No, it can't be that. It has to be Obama because he was born in fucking Kenya.
Yeah.
But I think that like the fact that symbol attaches itself in this case to an actual person who exists is really fucking interesting. And here's where I land on the Antichrist pipeline. I think that the interpretive chain that does begin with ancient apocalypse and moves through hidden knowledge and false authority is actually a really interesting chain that I do think we can actually trace. Like whether you accept it as truth or fantasy, I think we should definitely understand how these chains relate to modern times because if you want to see who's pulling the fucking threads, look to the billionaire with ties to the Vatican,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think that we should really ask which links are solid and which are made of fog because we don't want to get into documented history and speculation where we ask if certain families are magnets for suspicion, like fucking Trump and Epstein. I think that we really need to start looking into the maybe ordinary human systems of domination, like look fucking local. We just talked about landlords. But we can also ask if the real deception is in a secret office in Rome or in the everyday training that teaches people to trade truth for comfort, freedom for convenience, or worship for spectacle. And that might be the uncomfortable turn. But maybe the Antichrist pipeline isn't just about these powerful elites, but maybe it's also about us, Noel.
I mean, yeah, I think that every single one of those representatives in Utah that did not listen to the people and voted for the data center are Antichrist, all of them, every single one of them, the whole lot of them.
The fact that Shark Tank guy was like, unlike these people, I actually have a degree in environmental sciences. Like, who doesn't have that's like a required fucking class like that you can take in any free
Also,
fucking
why is
college.
some fucking bald-headed Canadian billionaire telling us what the fuck to do?
I know I'm not going to listen about
No.
environmental integrity when genetics rolled the dice against you and you lost your hair at age 15.
Yeah. And what's that meme that's like, he's bald and he's terrorizing everyone with hair.
Oh no.
That's him.
Just Lex Luthor.
No, straight up. Mr. Wonderful is Lex Luthor if you think about it. Ugh.
Did you see that like they were trying to tell people that they couldn't show up and protest without a permit? So
Yeah.
enough people filed for permits in a day. It was like $57,000 worth of permits.
And then they still put their little fucking rat tails between their little rat legs and scurried on into a room and put it on a fucking projector via Zoom because they're fucking cowards. If you're gonna
Yeah.
be a little antichrist demon dick sucker, you better wear it on your fucking chest, you pussy boys.
Yeah. I hope that the data center gets bombed in Fortnite.
Me too. I hope the data center gets absolutely demolished and lit the fuck on fire in a video game.
Yeah. In the video game, I hope they all get gunned down.
Yeah, in the
I
video
think if
game.
you're going to sell out humanity and put a price tag on an entire state's environment, that in the video game, you should be Gandalfied.
Yeah, I think so. I think like that's actually the best part of the video game. Look at that skinny
Look at,
fucking bitch. Look at that skinny bitch.
if
Oh my
anyone's
God.
wondering why Bear is freaking out, it's because Oliver's flipping off the computer, and Bear doesn't like to see that kind of disrespect towards women.
I don't even respect him because I could beat the shit out of him right now. I
I
could
know,
beat up your
really?
skinny little husband.
Yeah, look at how thin he is. Look at his tummy. Show her
I'm
your profile. Turn
Whoa.
sideways. Turn sideways. Babe, turn sideways.
Get there.
Hurry
Oh my
up.
God.
We're fucking doing this. Look at that. Look at that flat tummy.
Wow. Well, I could jump him now.
Oh, I've been beating the shit out of him every day. It's
Yeah.
never been easier. So,
She puts soap in a pillowcase
in
and
a
beats him with it.
pillowcase. Yeah. I swing it around like Thor swings his hammer.
But anyway, um, we're surrounded by little antichrists. They're here in
I know.
Utah, and
It's
they're
the unvaxxed toddler down the street.
yeah, fuck them, dude. Fuck them. How dare they bring their little plague rat to a fucking birthday party?
Yeah.
You keep that
Drives
thing
me
on a
nuts.
cage. I'm gonna put it in the middle of the ocean.
I know, right? Bring your toddler to the Argentinian cruise.
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, if you don't want to vaccinate, let's not vaccinate.
No, fuck anti-vaxxers. Fuck anti-vaxxers. Me and all my homies hate anti-vaxxers. That's the
Yeah,
real
same.
antichrist, anti-vaxxers. It's so close, it's almost in the name. Um, anyway, super fun. I would love being surrounded by demons. Uh, I really feel like Gnostic religion is what makes sense to me because we are in hell. This is hell. This is the hell. So anyway, I am at Noel Fain. That is at Sith Lord. You can find us at Go to Hell Podcast. Anywhere you look it up. Actually, not anywhere. We're not on Twitter anymore. We deleted that shit after Elon took over. God bless. We also are not really on Facebook anymore. So sorry. Just really not using that much. But in our link tree in our bios on Instagram, you can find links to listen to our Patreon. Dollar gets you in. We told some childhood secrets on today's episode. So
Yeah, Noel really No, well, really let us have it
I
within
just want you to
reason.
fucking know, and I hope that the audio picked it up. When you just spoke, it sounded demonic. I just want you to know that.
Did it?
Yes, yes, yes,
But I'm
yes.
saved, Noelle.
I don't know about that, girl. I just heard it. I hope everyone heard it. I hope it's caught in here. Have you seen that video where the guy like he's giving a speech and then he coughs and it's like and it's like the demon voice comes out? That's what you sounded
No.
like. That's what you sounded like. So
Okay. Well,
anyway, that was crazy. Can't wait to listen to that. You can also find a link to our merch. 100% of proceeds are donated. And in that merch site, you can find merch made by Kelly Holloran or at Wildwood Owl on Etsy. She makes cool shit for us, but she also makes cool shit in general. And she's doing so much, man. Her shit's everywhere. I see her posting. They're
oh my
putting
gosh, she's
her in
killing it.
stores. Way to kill it, girl. You can also find what else do we have in there? Oh, we have like mutual aid resources in there. And we have a link to our YouTube where you can bully us in the comments. And I don't know why you'd need it, but a link to listen to us, which is anywhere podcasts are heard.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to say, I hope in a video game. I'm gonna give a predictive hail to whoever in a video game is the brave angel amongst us who is going to make a fucking Molotov cocktail and chuck it at that data center in a video game.
Yeah, I'm gonna hail the in the video game. I'm also gonna hail the article I found online that says you can make penicillin in your kitchen
We should all be learning how to
for
do
the
that.
inevitable apocalypse. So,
Isn't it from mold?
yeah.
I'm almost
Grapefruit is
there.
what the article suggested.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Certain people on SSRIs can't eat grapefruit. Oh my God, did you see that RFK is trying to fucking ban SSRIs?
Well, I'm on an SNRI. Do
I'm
you
gonna
think
be
I'm
a
next?
yeah.
At
I'm
first, I
the
saw him come for the SSRIs, but I
at
did not
first
speak
and
up.
then they came for me. Oh my God, I'm gonna be a
Um,
problem. Dude,
if
that
I have to
bitch does
cold
that.
turkey
No,
my brain candy,
no.
I'm gonna cut off my own hands, dude. I know
No.
it. I know that someone's life is going to be inconvenienced greatly if I have to cold turkey my brain
It's
candy.
dude, if they take the Lexapro from me out of my cold, dead hands, you
Yeah, right?
motherfuckers, I am not going through raw dogging my early 20s as a grown adult with grown adult bills and problems just because some fucking, I don't even, great mouth, grated mouth bullshit, fucking smooth brained worm bear killer is like,
If my trichotillomania
it's all
comes
right.
back, yeah, if my trichotillomania comes back because I can't manage it with drugs anymore and I have to deal with bald spots, they still haven't grown back, Noel.
Dude,
That's
here's
going to
what
become everyone's
here's what
problem.
I have to say about RFK. If you can't fucking pronounce it, you can't ban it, you fucking ugly bitch.
You pussy
Say
ass
it.
bitch.
Say it once. Say it
Maybe that was the
once.
real demon voice I had a few minutes ago.
It was RFK. Okay. Oh my God.
uh,
Yeah, I'm good. I can't even fucking do
RFK
it.
sounds how Cora sounds when Cora barks.
Oh, how dare you.
Yeah, you got RFK dog.
She wouldn't take my SSRIs. God, I hate that stupid fucking bitch. RFK, not Cora. Oh my God, he pisses me off. Anyway, now I'm thinking about that little demon. Both of them,
Well,
actually. Okay, well, let's get the fuck out of here.
all right, bye.
Bye.